Hola mi gente, and welcome back to the channel. So where do you see the stock market going over the next couple of weeks, maybe even the next month? Do you think it's going to go up? A one-way ticket to Gainesville, Florida so we can chill with the Florida Gators and do the Gator clap? Man, that's embarrassing because I'm from Miami and I gotta rep the U all the time. That is my squad right there. Or do you think we're going to be dipping and diving? We can head into choppy waters and the stock market is going to go down. Now, before I tell you what I think is going to happen and I point out some things that could be signals of a potential correction or even crash, let me know in the comments down below what you think is going to happen to the market. I love hearing from you guys and I want to know what your thoughts are. So comment down below if you can. Now, I like to start this video off by just saying that I am not a fortune teller, nor am I Elmore Fudd. I am not trying to spread fear, uncertainty, doubt when it comes to the stock market. I'm just a realist. I like looking at everything in the stock market, and I'm not going to be naive and think that the stock market is on a one-way ticket to paradise and it's just going to continue to go up nonstop, because that's unrealistic, and the stock market has never behaved that way before. So yes, there is a chance that we will see a correction. Am I afraid of a correction or a crash? Hell to the no. I am ready for this battle. I am ready for this war, and I have cash aside so that I can buy the dip on the companies that I absolutely love. Because in my personal opinion, although the stock market might behave a certain way a couple times and some people can get rich quick in the stock market is not a get rich quick scheme. It takes patience to make money in the stock market, and it takes long-term investing or a sound trading strategy puts you in a position where you can make a little bit of money daily consistently to generate capital, to generate wealth in the stock market. So yes, I am waiting for a dip, and if a dip comes, I will be ecstatic because that means it's sale time and I can buy the companies, the stocks that I absolutely love. And who doesn't like a good sale on something that's going to generate money for you? That's the best sale there is. All right, so enough of that. Hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, join the Patreon, join the community of over 500 investors, and let's get into what I want to show you guys. All right, the first thing is obvious. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize when you take a look at the chart for the S&P 500 that we are overbought. We are well above the 100-day moving average, the 200-day moving average, and we just been moving higher and higher since the pandemic. And things look even more overbought if you extend this chart out so that you can look at pre-pandemic levels. So let's take a look at that. Let's go to 3-year weekly. If you take a look at this chart and you see that, let's just start with the pandemic first. The SPY, the S&P 500 dropped to a value of $218.26. and is now at $428.78. We have more than doubled off of the low. And if we look at the value pre-pandemic at $335, those are massive gains. And that happened basically in February 2020. Right now, I'm filming this on June 30th, 2021. So about a year and 7 months, a year and 8 months, we have had massive gains. Now, the stock market typically is supposed to net you 8 to 10, maybe even 12% yearly if you're following the market. And this is the market. So the market has been behaving extremely well. There is asset inflation out the wazoo, and the stock market has been moving much higher. But it is going to drop at some point. Is that some point going to be in the next couple of weeks, or could this thing continue higher for even longer? I don't know. But if you take a look at this chart, and like I said, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. We are overextended on the S&P 500, and it feels frothy. But that's not what I'm trying to point out here. I want to give you guys a signal that could indicate that a correction or crash is coming, because this signal has worked before. And I have told you guys before, in advance of a correction or a crash, or maybe right when it starts. And I told you guys this because I wanted you to understand why it was happening. And if you had trades or low conviction stocks, it was time to sell them, even if it was for a loss, because you don't want to be left holding the bags in something that you don't believe in long term, and you're not going to buy the dip and bring your dollar cost average down so that you make money on that stock. You're basically just going to hold it until it breaks even. At that point, you will sell. And that was dead money for whatever time, however long you were holding it, and you were losing money to inflation. So that's not what you want to do. So if you believe or you have signals or you think the market is overbought and overextended and is due for a crash, as soon as you get indication that that crash is coming, those low conviction stocks, even if they are at a loss, it's time to sell them. It's time to wash your hands of the companies you don't believe in, free up cash so that you can add to the companies that you do. So here is the ETF that I think is a good signal. It's been a signal before of a crash. This starts to dip before the market starts to dip. So it's almost a canary in the coal mine, if you want to say. Now this on the 1-day chart looks very weak to me. It looks like we are having a rolling top and we are in a danger zone right now. We're at the 100-day moving average. And if this thing does not hold and does not bounce up, we could test the 200-day moving average. And as you can see, there's a bunch of air between the two moving averages. And if that happens, it's not going to be good. Now, what ETF is this? Well, it goes by ticker IYT. And this is a transportation ETF, the iShares Transportation ETF. Now, this holds major companies like FedEx, UPS, Norfolk Southern, a bunch of rail companies, big airliners. This ETF is all about companies that thrive when the economy is doing good. Because think about it. When the economy is doing good, people are buying things. Products are being sold. Services are being sold. And what do those services and products need? They need transportation to get to where they need to be. And whether it's e-commerce or not, this ETF will show strength during a good economy. So what is happening right now with the IYT is a little bit concerning. And if we see this dip to the 200-day moving average or the 100-day moving average does not hold and we start moving lower, that would be an indication that we are about to see a correction in the overall market. Now, another stock that you can look at, which is a big holding in the IYT and why I am concerned, is FedEx. Now, if we take a look at this chart looks very similar. We're at the 100-day moving average. There's a big gap between the 100-day and the 200-day, and it shows weakness in the chart. This company had great earnings, but yet the stock dropped. So when you have a company that posts great earnings and it's not overvalued based off of traditional valuation principles, and it still drops, that is a sign of weakness. So there are two factors that are showing weakness in the IYT. The behavior of FedEx and where we are on a technical standpoint on the IYT with the rolling top at the 100-day moving average, and we could dip lower. Now, there are two times recently when this ETF really dropped. It dropped during the pandemic, 40%. Everything dropped in the pandemic. It was not a canary in the coal mine at that time. That was a black swan event that sent the whole market dropping. But what happened in September 17th, 2018 was a canary in the coal mine, and it could happen again. We saw a 25% drop in the IYT, and that drop started on September 17th, 2018. Now remember this date, and I'm going to repeat it. September 17th, 2018, a 25% drop in the IYT. Now let's head back over to the SPY and see what happened at the SPY at that time. So we had a 35% drop from the pandemic, maybe even more. I didn't go to the very bottom of this candle. What happened in 2018 in the S&P 500? Well, as you can see, we started the drop on October 1st. So it took a couple weeks. The IYT happened first, then the S&P 500 dropped. And how much did it drop? It dropped 20%, which is a decent drop. Anything over 10% is a crash. Anything under 10% is a correction. And in my personal opinion, this will be a great signal. The IYT will be a great signal if we are going to see a correction or crash in the S&P 500. And basically how much the IYT drops, the S&P 500 is going to drop a little bit less than that. So if the IYT drops 25%, then we saw a 20% drop. If the IYT drops 40%, then we saw a 35% drop. So let's say the IYT drops 10%, maybe we see an 8% drop. If it drops 15%, maybe we see a 10 to 12% drop in the S&P 500. When that happens, we'll take a look at the technicals and try to find support on the S&P 500. But generally, if the IYT is going to dip, so is the S&P 500. And so will all of the other indexes, the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ. What I'm doing right now is I'm staying long on my long-term positions. I'm playing my trades tight. I'm keeping cash on the side. And also very important is watch your margin. Right now, I'm 100% out of margin. I want margin at my disposal if we see a drop to increase my buying power. If you are heavy on margin and we see a drop, you could get margin called, or you're not going to have any chance of buying anything because your buying power is going to be essentially none. So just in my personal opinion, keep an eye out. Don't just look at one stock, two stocks. Try to understand how the market is working right now, and definitely keep an eye out on the signals that I mentioned in this video. Now, if you want to join the community of investors that we have here at the We Are Investing channel of over 500 investors, you can do so by joining the Patreon. It will give you access to the Discord server, which is essentially a super chat room where we talk stocks, cryptos every single day. And also consider hitting that subscribe button, ringing that bell if you are not already subscribed and do not already have notifications on. And also consider hitting that like button to help with the YouTube algorithm. I really do appreciate it. But it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. And this is We Are Investing, and together we are invincible. Dale.